On the way to the bus stop, Bill saw somebody he recognized walking towards him, but he couldn't remember his name. He began to think of things to say when they'd be close enough to acknowledge each other. As they drew nearer, their eyes locked, uncertain if the other was going to stop to talk. The person greeted Bill, as Bill mixed up the phrases, "What's up?" with "How's it going?" Confused, the person blurted out, "Thanks," before he knew what he was saying. Words caught in Bill's throat, and he replied, "Way." They did a sorta awkward half-turn, and then continued on, now confident that the other was not going to stop to talk. They never saw each other again, and a day later had each forgotten the whole thing. In the supermarket, Bill was always very careful to select fruit from only the back of the produce piles, as the fruit in the front was at crotch level to the other customers. Everyone in the supermarket looked like some sort of demon, and they all had gigantic bacteria-ridden crotches buried in all the goddamn produce. Bill watched part of a documentary program about a 5,000-year-old Iceman that was found in Italy. Scientists explored its colon and everything on live television. Bill wondered if the Iceman could have ever imagined this would one day have happened to him. His neighbor, trying to be helpful but failing, cornered Bill in the parking lot to explain how cryogenic scientists could freeze his brain in ice until a point in the future when microscopic robots could repair it. Bill daydreamed about all the brains in jars he used to see at school, how he used to wonder whether there were still somehow pieces of individuals inside, scattered fragments of partial dreams or lost memories locked deep within that dead tissue, or whether this entire archive is immediately erased the moment that the body fails. He began to think of people in a new light, how everyone's just little more than that frightened, fragile brainstem, surrounded by meat and physics too terrified to recognize the sum of their parts, insulated in the shells of their skulls in lower middle-class houses, afraid of change, afraid of decisions, afraid of pain, stuck in traffic, listening to terrible music. His neighbor stared at him and said, "Last night I dreamt all my toes fell off." Bill dropped his keys and stood there staring at them, suddenly thinking about all the times he'd thrown his keys there before, and how many days of his life were wasted. But then he wondered if, realistically, this was his life. And maybe over again. But then he wondered if this was his life. This was his life. This was his life.
The power of Christ compels you.
He's in a nursing home. Is he old? Is he old? A room full of windows. A room full of windows. And he gives a name on a paper that's not in his handwriting to the front counter. And a frail old man is being wheeled to see him now. A man who's been here for over 10 years, but rarely had a visitor. Neither of these two people remember why they're there, or who exactly this other person is. But they sit and they watch a game show together. And when it's time for Bill to leave, he stands and says something beautiful to him. And neither of them understand what he means exactly, but the old man begins to cry anyway, and they will never see each other again. He will spend hundreds of years traveling the world, learning all there is to know. He will learn every language. He will read every book. He will know every land. He will spend thousands of years creating stunning works of art. He will learn to meditate to control all pain, as wars will be fought, and great loves found, and lost, and found, lost, and found, and found, and found, and memories built upon memories, until life runs on an endless loop. He will father hundreds of thousands of children, whose own exponential offspring he'll slowly lose track of through the years, whose millions of beautiful lives will all eventually be swept again from the earth. And still, Bill will continue. He will learn more about life than any being in history. But death will forever be a stranger to him. People will come and go until names lose all meaning, until people lose all meaning and vanish entirely from the world. And still, Bill will live on. He will befriend the next inhabitants of the earth, beings of light, who revere him as a god. And Bill will outlive them all. For millions and millions of years. Exploring, learning, living, until the earth is swallowed beneath his feet. Until the sun is long since gone. Until time loses all meaning, and the moment comes that he knows only the positions of the stars, and sees them whether his eyes are closed or open. Until he forgets his name and the place where he'd once come from. He lives and he lives until all of the lights go out. Bill picked up his new medication, went home, and masturbated for 7 hours. At lunch, he told Bill about a physics book he was reading about time, how the passing of time is just an illusion, because all of eternity is actually taking place at once. The past never vanishes away, and the future has already happened. All of history is fixed and laid out, like an infinite landscape of simultaneous events that we simply happen to travel through in one direction. Bill made a joke that he could have sworn he'd been told that somewhere before, but the guy just stared at him like he didn't get it. He dreams he's part of a rocket crew re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. As they rapidly descend, it's believed that eating ice cream bars will help prevent them from having strokes. As the heat intensifies, Bill eats his ice cream bar and secretly hopes that if something bad had to happen, the ship wouldn't explode, but just that everyone else would have strokes. He was a quiet, unassuming man who was eating an onion one day when he was cut in half by a train. He was eventually crippled with lead poisoning and polio, and was killed by a train. He found a message on the answering machine that was sorry to inform him his mother had just died that morning. They said she'd launched into a fit of senile hysterics after skipping her medication, and was hit by a train. Last week, Bill's class took a field trip to the beach. His half-brother, Randall, came along, a little boy in the special class with aluminum hook arms, whose mind was as misshapen as his legs. No one at school really knew him because he always rode a separate bus and was taught to stand within the confines of a tetherball circle every recess. In the late afternoon, Randall was over with the adults when he spotted a gull overhead. His eyes burst with emotion and he suddenly took off stumbling after it. Tears streaming down his little face, he stretched his aluminum hooks as wide as he could towards the sun, howling, "Boone, Boone," and disappeared into the deep blue sea. The other kids were surprised he could even run that fast.